Iko Nini and na come kwako straight from masaiza Dallas. Saizi bado ni asubuhi huku, so ukicheki utanotice macho zangu ziko hata sijanawa uso, and the reason why sijanawa uso, nimeamka asubuhi alafu nikapata moja hizi letters za kipumbavu, zile naita ya kipumbavu, and this can get me into a lot of trouble, but I feel like it's time that Kenyans start fighting back. Like kuna vitu zingine zina happen kwa country yetu, unashinda kwa like why do we allow these things to happen? So kitu nabonga juu yake ni nimeamka nikapata letter kutoka kwa broadcasting department. Hii ni broadcast at kfcb.go.ke. So this is the Kenya Film Classification Board. So letter inasema compliance with Kenya Film Classification Board regulations. So dear Mwafrika, I hope this email finds you well. Attached find a letter at on the matter blah blah blah. So nikamwa wacha ni open hii letter cause you know, and this is mushindaga nikisema shida ya Kenya ni we have a lot of dinosaurs that understand nothing about a lot of stuff, and this letter just shows you that this is what it shows. And as I said, itaniletea shida mingi kabisa, but kitu nimeamua, I've written to a few creators and I've told them if we combine as many creators to come together, we can fight this nonsense, because this is pure nonsense. You'll never hear this in any part of the world except Kenya. A country that's trying to create jobs is trying to destroy jobs in equal measure. Saizi vile nakwambia niko states, and the reason why I'm in states is because the president came here to talk about the creative economy, and to talk about the creative economy in the country that started the creative economy. And even before the president goes back to Kenya, the same government is trying to fight the creative economy. So what are you trying to do? Are you trying to, and this falls kwa nini, the back stops with the president, the back stops with akina Itumbi, but this is pure nonsense. So what's the nonsense I'm talking about? Compliance with the Kenya Film Classification. Then wakaendelea that our attention has been drawn to your YouTube channels, Mwafrika, where you have continuously uploaded audiovisual content for purposes of exhibiting and distributing to the public without acquiring the requisite filming license from the Kenya Classification Board. That sections of the film mandates that the Kenya to regulate the creation, broadcasting, possession, distribution, and exhibition of film and broadcast content in the country. When was this cap written? That further, Section 4 of the Act requires all filmmakers producing film within Kenya for public exhibition or sale, locally or internationally, to obtain a filming license. Additionally, Section 12 requires that all classes of the film being distributed, exhibited, and broadcasted within Kenya must be examined by KFCB and a certificate of approval issued. So hii ndio kitu ita happen. At saizi kabla ni upload video, lazima ni call mjinga fulani KFCB, achukue time yake, aiwatch alafu iapprove. Ataniambia kwa nini umetumia jina mjinga? Kwa hii ni ujinga. And as I said, and this is the easiest thing, KFCB just then ban Kenya YouTube from being watched within YouTube, within Kenya. Wacha iwachiwe internationally. Let's get 50 views, but 50 views za states ni kama how many views? 1,000 views za Kenya. Hii story nimejam, because this government can't have, you can't have the Itumbis of this world walking around enjoying Washington. The reason why Washington is Washington is because things like YouTube, you don't require a license. You see? And I say this nikijua the risks that I'm taking just coming out, because this, all creators have gotten this letter. A lot of creators are going to be very humble with it and what, but mi nimeita vile it's called, it's nonsense. And this is something that shows you the dinosaurs. How much money is Kenya making from YouTube? And you want to kill that? And then where does it stop? Juu kama YouTube require license, do you also require license for TikTok? Do you require license? So everyone needs to get this letter. Every Kenyan with a smartphone needs to get this letter, and they need to know that any video that you distribute, whether it's about floods ama nini, you have to send that video first to the Kenya Film and Classification Board, alafu wa approve, because this is nonsense and we have to fight this. And I'm telling content creators, tukishikana like 100 content creators, we can get a good lawyer who can fight this case. Like this is nonsense, and if the government is trying to create jobs, it needs to create jobs. Alafu ina take back to kitu ile ili happen. Kuna wasali kwa niuza mwaf vile saizi umepelekwa na gava US, utakuwa ukicriticize gava. Niko US na criticize gava. Like this is Iko Nini. We tell you what we think. It's a podcast. There's nowhere in the Kenya Classification Board where they've talked about podcasts. Mine is a podcast, yours is a broadcast. Because now you want us to go into semantics? Like we have to fight this. So this letter imeendelea ikaniambia, take notice that unless you comply with the above in the next 14 days we shall institute legal proceedings in ini. And this is what I'm saying, let them institute the legal proceedings. Tushikane, like enough content creators. I had to ask like a lot of content creators that are bigger than me, nimewapigia nikauliza like, mpata hii letter, wako like to me get. So I don't know if they've posted on their knees, but we need to fight this because this can't stop here. Itaenda kwa TikTok, itaenda kwa Instagram, itaenda kwa what. And then in the grand scheme of things, if you think about it, we can say this is political because people use social media to highlight things that are not happening. Unapataga kina Larry Madowo wamepost what's happening at JKIA. If you need licenses for this, you do think a guy at Kenya Film Classification Board is going to let you post anything that shows the government negatively? And so this is the nonsense that happens. And this has been written by CPA Pascal Opio. Pascal Opio, I don't know who forced you to do this. I don't know if you took it within your rights to do this, but I feel like we need to fight this. And this goes out to all the content creators out there. We need to fight this. This is nonsense. Like, okay, Ati, that consequently we demand that you strictly comply with the requirements of the film and submit them for examination and classification before the same is exhibited. So, before ni post video, do you know how YouTube works? For us to make money, we have to post consistently. Kuna times post saa 6 usiku. So nikuwa nikikuamsha uamke saa 6 usiku nini. This dinosaur rules. And then, who started YouTube? YouTube was started in America. America is the most capitalistic society in the world. And even within them, they saw like, YouTube, broadcast yourself. You're using your smartphone. I'm not even using a professional camera. Why should I come to you? And Mr. Pascal Opio, it means you have nothing to do. Like, think of something else. At least, okay, sawa, tuambie tunalida license. Sawa, tutalipia license ikufurahishe. But sasa unatuambia tukue tukikupatia video na una approve. That can't work. Na ndio nasema jo wa Kenya lazima tufight hizi vitu. And this is the time. This is the time for a few people to step up. Itumbi, you can't be in America taking photos zako za Washington DC. Those photos are videos are embarrassing. I don't know. I need to tell Kenyans about this. If you are someone who works for the government, you should never be proud of another country's achievements. It's not a good thing. Yes, it does not look good. Do the same things for your own country. So Mr. Itumbi, you should be the first one to fight this. The second person to fight this immediately should be the president. You can't talk in two tongues, two whatever. You can't 1 minute say you're trying to grow the creative economy, then the next minute unatuambia we need licenses for YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and whatever and Facebook, because that's what you mean. This means that everything has to be approved. Do you know how many content creators are in Kenya? So let's say we are 100,000. These guys are going to approve every video. How practical is this? This is nonsense and it's not practical. So inamaanisha video, kama saizi vile I'm reacting to this story, itakuwa approved 6 months from now when the story has nini, and then people are going to close down, families are going to go hungry. We created jobs for ourselves. There were no jobs. We created jobs for ourselves. Now you're coming to tell us, and that's why I'm telling people, like content creators, call this what it is. It's nonsense and it needs to be fought. And this is the time for like just one lawyer ule anajua like the creative industry and understands how YouTube works worldwide needs to also step up. Tushikane a bunch of content creators, we fight this. And these dinosaurs need to be gotten from the office because these are the dinosaurs. These are the people who sit down and they come up with the most stupid ideas and then they push these ideas and then people have to sit down and what. Alafu watu wengine wanaogopa. So Musamaga, like, and tunaogopa nini? So if you decide to shut it, utaishat. Hata nikuja hapa nikulamberasa, utaishat. So why? I'm just going to tell you what I think. I think this is nonsense. I think this is outdated. I think there is no way that an organization can regulate YouTube, Instagram. Like there are a million, how many videos on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok that go live in Kenya. I'd say like there are 2 million videos maybe every day. And that's on the lower side. So these are 2 million videos. How many people are going to be able to approve them so that we can follow this, that we demand that you strictly comply with the requirements of the Films and Stage Plays Act by obtaining filming license for your films and submit them for examination. Submit them where? This is nonsense. There's nothing to submit. And I've said this, bana. I'm recording this video while I'm in Dallas. I'm doing this in a different country, and even a country where I'm not a citizen. I'm not required to get a license. But in my own country, a country that has no jobs, there are a lot of people are barely surviving. The few people who are surviving, sasa tunaambia pia nyinyi msisurvive, join these people who are not surviving. And the government is there, proud. Tuko alafu wase wako hapo mwafu kutoka leo hakuna vile uta criticize gava. Mimi nili criticize gava kabla niingie kwa ndege nikikuja hapa, because my trip was fully funded by Iko Nini funds and ticket ilikuwa ya LINEBET, but everything else ilikuwa like Iko Nini funds. So there is no, hakuna taxpayers money imetumika hapa kwa story yangu. Taxpayers money yako imetumika kwa Kenya Film Classification Board. This guy who's trying to create an employment, he is the one who unafaa kuona bonga naye, si mimi. Unacheki? Na mimi nimejam. Mimi nimesema hii kitu na put out there. Hii ni ujinga. Mimi instead of kucomplain hizi ujinga, nataka kubonga na lawyers kadhaa. Me the best neza do hapa ni kubuy hiyo license ya kipumbavu, which I don't require because YouTube does not work the way nini hiyo vitu zingine work. Hiyo vitu zingine ni these airwaves, and someone has to akienda kwa hizo airwaves. YouTube, you can go to YouTube and never watch Iko Nini. No one forces you. Anyone who watches Iko Nini wants to watch Iko Nini. And then this compliance, they need to talk to YouTube as an organization. You will pay a certain amount of money because that's what they're looking for. I don't know if YouTube will pay them that amount of money, but that's what they're looking for. And this looks like another scheme by the Kenya government to make money, because this is what I've been told. I've been told that for every hour of film that you shoot, you should pay the Kenya Classification Board 6,000 shillings. Do you know how many YouTube channels shoot like 1,000 hours in a month and do not make 6,000 shillings? So for every hour, you have to pay 6,000 shillings. So every time you do podcast refu, 3 hours, I have to pay 18,000 shillings. That's what they're looking for. This is what the dinosaurs are looking for. This is what these people who have nothing to do and cannot adjust their minds to the modern world and think of other ways. The Kenya Film Classification Board should be more concerned about films being exhibited on ground, like tunafaa kwa tunafanya productions. This should be the same people who are here in Hollywood trying to encourage movie kama Beast ya Idris Elba ikuje ishutiwe Kenya instead of South Africa. But instead of doing that, they're thinking, wacha tu YouTube. So after YouTube, when they hear that Instagram is making people a lot of money, they're going to go to Instagram. Although I don't know, maybe washatumia watu wa Instagram, watu wa TikTok. So this has to be fought. And people have to tell these people, we live in a modern world, and apart from the modern world, we know what happens everywhere else. There is nowhere in the world, not even in Iraq and Afghanistan, that you need a YouTube license. You need a license from the government to shoot YouTube. This nonsense has to be fought. And it's time for content creators to step up. Like, tuachage uoga. Uoga ndio ufanyaga Kenya watu waendi mbali. Wacha ni shout out, anaitwa Boniface Mwangi, Team Courage. We have to be more courageous. This is nonsense. This is nonsense. So this nonsense means two things. Number one, it might mean that the government is trying to censor us. So the government has noticed that TikTok especially has like a lot of people who analyze politics, analyze everything, and they need to stop that. So let's come up with this. Or another thing is, you have the Kenya Film Classification Board who are seated somewhere, and since they don't encourage and they don't have any ideas of how to make people wakuje to shoot film Kenya, wakamwa, why don't we target Kenyans who are working somewhere? Like, I've shot a lot of videos hapa nikiwa places like, and sasa nikirudi Kenya, my country of birth, I need to look for a license. So hiyo ndio letter nimepata, vile nimesema hata sijaoga, nimesema tu let me react to this and tell you about this nonsense, and tell KFCB that I'm going to be one of the people that fight this. Maybe I'll end up being banned and whatever, but I don't know. But this has to be fought. It's 2024. YouTube started in 2005. So for 20 years, YouTube has operated within the borders of Kenya, and this nonsense was not required. And then when the president comes to talk about the creative economy, alafu aseme all this, now we have this. And remember, I did an analysis of the whole presidential trip, and nakumbuka nikimaliza nilisema, do I expect any change? And I told you no. And you see, even before I leave the US, you see the nonsense that's happening. Because I've been in these places, like nishakaga in these spaces, and every time I listen to them, I see a bunch of very clueless people. But I'm the sort of person who can never be put kwa inaitwa nini, kwa hiyo round table. Because naweza kuambia, like another thing that I didn't mention, like even when we were at the Tyler Perry studios, a lot of stuff was talked about except the price of internet and the speeds of internet. I remember the Safaricom CEO was there, and I really wanted to talk to him, but sikupata hiyo chance, because mnajuaga how much I criticize Safaricom for not improving our speeds, and apart from that, for the prices staying the same. Technology gets cheaper with time. By right now, we should be having cheaper internet. Safaricom can't be charging us the same prices it charged 6 years ago. But now, before we even do that, we'll have to get some guy at Kenya Film Classification Board to rate this. This is nonsense. This is impossible to execute. How many videos are uploaded on YouTube in Kenya every day? Alafu, if you need this Kenya Film Classification Board thing, don't forget Kenya Film Classification Board also normally rates films from outside. So if sisi kama wa Kenya tuna require license, then we need also all the foreigners to require license for them to be seen in Kenya. So basically this is what we are going to do. Kama hauna license ya Kenya, video yako isionekane Kenya. Ikuwe wewe you are a local filmmaker or an international filmmaker, isionekane. Because right now you can't just have, like Passion of Christ, I think it was banned in Kenya. You see? So where does this stop? And this is what I'm saying, this is nonsense, and we as Kenyans, especially content creators, we need to fight this. Tuache hii uoga. Hatuwezi dedisi wote. Najua, watachapa risasi watu wawili watatu, but wengine watasurvive. Na mimi umecheki, mimi nimetokea kwa frontline, kasema hii ni ujinga. Hii ni kitu make sense. Yaani Mr. Pascal Opio jo. Nashindwa hizi ni nini jo buda? Like ulikaaje hivi na ukeka signature yako to such nonsense? This makes no sense that we need to give you a video for you to approve. How many videos are uploaded in Kenya? Mseka Ubina, nishamsifu hapa for being the guy who does like how many videos in one night, and they are supposed to be live. So videos live, going live on YouTube, how's that going to work? Going live on Instagram, going live on TikTok, how's that going to work? Alafu unatumia kanyari na hizo ujinga zake, sisi so nimemalizia jo, sema kwenda huko iko nene.